Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Bouk and Zoobie show on the world famous LIR.com, 927 LIR.com, and YouTube. I am John Kalaboukas, the Bouk, with my friend Paul Zubulake, Zuby. So before we get to this terrible football season, the first thing is I want to apologize to our viewers last week because we had some technical difficulties, and as it was almost like watching these old Japanese or Chinese kung fu movies where they're dubbing everything, and unfortunately that happened to us last week.
That is true. It's we do apologize. We had some audio video timing issues there that our great producer could not figure out what the problem was. We put the content out. It was a good week to listen on Spotify. Let's put it that way, John.
Yep, yep. Now I have a question for you, Mr. Zubalake.
Yes, sir.
Have we ever seen a dumber football player than Michael Clemens? I mean, I, Aaron Glenn just got rid of Gibson for a mistake. How about Clemens? I mean, why does he get a pass every year? I mean, how many times have we seen a stupid play by this man?
Well, John, I actually have a theory on Michael Clemens. I actually think that everybody's afraid of him and no
Oh,
one can actually tell him the truth because if anybody has seen Michael Clemens, this man is built like an Adonis. He is strong, and if you watch his temperament on the field, he seems to be angry. And angry big guys, it's hard to tell them the truth. And it just seems that that's part of the problem. So I'm going to go with that theory that they're just afraid to tell him that he's cut because he might take somebody out when it happens.
uh, well, you know, I have to be honest.
Yes, sir.
Watching the Jets play, I did not watch them after halftime. I went right. I actually ended up watching the Giant game for
Well,
the rest of
eh,
the time.
well, we will definitely get to that game because that was a crazy game.
Yeah.
We are Jet fans. Let's face it, the Book and Zuby show is when it comes to football, it is a New York Jets show. And that's where our love is and that's where our eyes are. But this is one of those weeks that the Giants definitely got our eyes. And
Yeah.
with the two TV setup, was able to watch both games. But we'll start with the Jets. And this pod has always been very honest with the fans about how we feel about this team and what we thought. So they blew it in the first week, and we talked about it. How moral victories are absolutely unacceptable. But it seems, John, that not only were the players, but the coaching staff a little cocky after one game where there was a lot of good things, and they decided not to show up at all. And the worst thing about it was that after that first half, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, "Well, we got our butts kicked in the first half. This is gonna be something I'm gonna be watching how they come out in the second half, and to go out the way they did in the second half
It was awful.
really put the alarm bells up about what is going on. And I just it was just such a up to from literally everybody on the team just had a bad performance.
Yeah.
They started out poorly. And as old time Jet fans, when you're watching the first series and you see, on the third down play when Justin Fields air mails the pass,
Yeah. Yeah.
right away you're thinking, oh boy, 3 and out. That's not the way we wanted to start. The people complaining, oh, they started running. Well, guess what? They started running against Pittsburgh and it worked. So you
Yeah.
can't go after that. It was just a absolute butt kicking up and down, but really on the coaching side. where
Ugh,
Buffalo just outcoached them. I mean, it was embarrassing. And we
yeah.
said this with Aaron Glenn that he was definitely going to have some days as a first year coach where it was going to be looking pretty ugly. But this is a absolute, it's an indictment type of game where we have seen this numerous times where the Jets got blown out with no fight. It really is something that I'm just going to give the coach a complete mulligan on this, John, and the staff. Not Steve Wilkes on defense, though. He's a veteran coach
Yeah.
who we talked about a lot of this stuff where we have an inexperienced head coach, a inexperienced offensive coordinator, and a defensive coordinator whose claim to fame was to be fired at multiple places. His last stop in San Francisco, he coached 1 year on defense. He was the coordinator, and he was fired after
Yeah.
1 year. So this is something that you really have to be concerned about because the defense has been terrible in
Yeah.
both games.
And it's funny, when you watch SNY, they started, I'm trying to remember the young man's name, but he,
What are you talking about? The pre and post on SNY? Those
no,
games?
no, no,
No.
when they have the sports update in the evening at 11
Oh,
o'clock,
okay.
they have
Oh,
like, they bring some people in, they talk about, and it was funny how they were talking about when you played the Jets last year that, and the year before that, you expected the defense to give you a hard time and give you a game that way, and they say nothing, not even close to that. I mean, it's not even a, I don't know, not even a feeling from another team that that the Jets are going to be able to stop you. It's
it was just a
it's
terrible
ugly. It's
performance.
really ugly. The first two games have been really really ugly defensively. Ugly.
That's right. So they've got to snap out of it quick, and we'll see how it plays out. It was just an incredible disappointment from the start of the game where I mean everybody's talked about it. We're talking on Tuesday night. This show unfortunately is not going to get posted till like Thursday, so
Mhm.
people will be listening Thursday, Friday on the weekend. And it's been rehashed so many times. Obviously the 3rd and 10 or whatever it was when Josh Allen ran for 40 yards.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then obviously the 3rd and 19 play where Michael Clemens, as you said, just another bonehead play. What else is new? And then Jermaine Johnson gets hurt.
uh,
Quinnen Williams was down to 59% of the snaps. Now that was probably smart because they realized the game was over, so they're not going to play him a lot. I get it.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
not. I'm not going to go crazy. I mean,
yeah,
Will McDonald, he did not have a defensive statistic.
yeah.
So after his first big game, where he had 2 sacks, and all, of course, the Jet fans, oh, we got that Broderick Jones trade. That whole thing is now, it doesn't matter. We got the right guy, and he goes out there and he gets after that, which he had a good game. He goes out and gets no statistics.
A big egg.
Um, Right. That is bad. And he didn't play a lot either. That was a little bizarre. Quincy Williams, after last week's bad penalty, missed a tackle on James Cook
Yeah,
that led to a touchdown.
yeah.
Tony Adams, again, the culprit of obvious holding penalty across the middle where you're grabbing his jersey. I mean, he's complaining. It's like, who are you kidding? That disaster. And maybe it's so funny because you maybe can't say they blew that many coverages because they just couldn't stop the run. So it wasn't like at Josh Allen had to throw the ball.
Yeah,
And
no, Josh Allen didn't really have that great of a game. I mean, it was just,
you have to because they couldn't stop them on the ground.
yeah, it was just, it's like, he played average that game. I mean, it wasn't, and other than the 40-yard run, it was just an average game for him.
He didn't have to do anything. He didn't
Yeah,
have to do it. Anytime there was a big play, they got the firsts. They just I mean, it's just really almost hard to believe what we saw. I mean, that was just a complete disaster. So I'm gonna be nice and give the coach
That's
a
nice of you.
mulligan on it because he's a
That's
first
nice
year
of you.
coach. Oh well, I'm John. He is a first year coach, and it happened. Now it's how he reacts to what happened. That to me is what I'm watching,
Yeah,
what the players are. But and then one and the other thing is just it's a great idea to have a corner blitz, but maybe blitz a corner who can actually tackle. And we talked about Sauce Gardner about paying him
yeah,
before he proved that he was the top corner in the league. They paid him as the top corner in the league. And after a first good week, and again, he didn't have to do like there wasn't a passing game
no, no,
here,
you're
but
right.
he had a golden opportunity to kind of make a play. It wasn't going to change the outcome. And he cannot tackle, John. This guy is a cover corner only who has
Yep,
bad hands,
yep,
grabs too much because he did pick up a couple of penalties, but he cannot tackle. So blitzing him, of course, Buffalo let him go. That was like so funny. Like they didn't account for him ever blitzing because did it matter? Because Josh Allen knew that he could just bat him away like a fly. Oh, get out of my way.
yeah.
And it's just it really. I mean, from the front seven to the back end. I mean, what a debacle. And then on the other side, I mean, Justin Fields, after John literally playing the best game of his career, and he follows it up with probably his worst game.
Yep,
Then he takes a hard hit, hits his head on the turf. You weren't watching anymore.
no,
He actually, because of course, what happened to the NFL concussion people on the sideline that are supposed to stop the play? He gets walloped down to the ground. He's in the next play, and then they sack him and they fumble again, and they
oh,
recovered it this time. So he was concussed, and he actually played another play where he got sacked.
wow,
Where are the jet doctors? Where are the concussion people?
wow,
So now Justin Fields most likely will not play this week, and he shouldn't. And this is another thing we talked about, John. I said it in the offseason. I said if they had a fair competition between Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields, that Tyrod Taylor actually would be able to beat him out.
yeah, yeah.
And the problem with Tyrod, he just can't stay healthy. So
Well,
this is what, and
he holds the ball too long most of the time.
well,
You know,
Taylor wants to try to get the ball down the field.
no,
So,
no, no, and no, he has a great arm.
oh, you're talking
But
about Fields holds the ball on
no, no,
both
no,
of them?
no.
No, you're
I'm
talking about
saying,
Taylor.
yeah, because he's always going. Look, I like Taylor because he likes to throw long, but the problem is that he needs a protection, so he has the time to throw long.
Of
He
course.
does. He that's his problem. Is he
Well,
holds on to it too long, waiting, and then he gets sacked most of the time.
right. So it has to be a balanced offense where they're trying to make plays down the field, which of course they didn't even in this game they didn't do. Did they
No,
throw the
eh,
ball more than 30 yards? No. They didn't even try. And the offensive line, I mean, they obviously read their press clippings after 1 week, and then they go out and they get dominated. And this is actually funny because that's what I was asking about the pre and post on SNY, where they have Willie Colon
hmm
and Bart Scott and Connor Rogers is one of the young guys, very good actually analyst, on with Steve Gelb, who gets off from the Mets. God bless it for him before the game. I am not kidding because I do watch their pregame. Bart Scott is pretty sure it was Bart. Kind of ripped Joey Bosa before that game, just so you know. I don't know
uh,
how many people
well,
saw
I'll
it.
give you one even better.
And Joey
So
Bosa went out and had an
he had a
unbelievable
great
game.
game. Yeah, he had a great game.
Anyway, go go.
Well, I'll give you one even better. How about Tony Romo gushing over and saying the Jets are for real? How many
Yeah.
times did he say that? Jets are for real. That look at that line. I'm like, "Hey, my friend, it's one game, and and it was almost like what is that? The kiss of death when he said that because I was like, yeah, they're probably not going to have a good game now.
Well, I'll tell you. So that broadcast got so bad that we had to sit through the Jim Nantz love affair, the 40th year. of
Yeah.
Jim Nance and Romo. He's the greatest, and Nance, he's so humble. Oh, well, yeah, thank you, Tony. And then we have to hear about this stuff, and it's like, thank you for letting me into your home for all these years. Jim, we don't have a choice. We don't watch the games for the announcers. I don't say like, oh, who's doing the game today? Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm gonna really watch that game now because it's like, guy. I mean, you're a good announcer, but the way they portray these guys, like the legend, and we have to like bow down to the great Jim Nance. And I mean, nothing against Jim Nance, but he was probably thinking like, again, I get stuck with the Jets and they lay this massive egg. So they get the top CBS crew in for this game where you really thought it would be at least competitive, and it was just embarrassing bad. And this is another thing. This whole John, this whole garbage about the opposing fans in the stadium. And I mean, we've talked about this probably not in a long time. People have to understand if you're the history of the Jets and their fans. This is a franchise that was in Queens, New York until 1984. So they were from whatever, the Titans in 60, where they played in the Polo Grounds or whatever. So whenever Shea opened in 64, they basically played 20 years in Queens. So they had a huge fan base in Nassau, Suffolk County, and Queens, and of course, other places as well. So what did this franchise do? Because they couldn't get together with the city twice, but the first time where Mr. Hess moved it out to New Jersey, where they had to play in the Meadowlands
Yeah.
Giant Stadium. Yeah, that was a great thing. So what happened there? I would say 70% of the people who went to the games in Shea never made it to Giant Stadium. Or maybe they made it for a couple of years. Who knows? I'm guessing we'll never know. I was one who was, I went to games at Shea, and then I went to games at Giant Stadium because I actually was living in Manhattan at the time. So it was actually
Oh,
not that bad to get to
yeah,
New
yeah,
Jersey.
yeah.
And those people who know me know I have now lived in New Jersey for many years. So I was able to continue to go to the games until the second wave of destroying the fan base. When I went to games in the Meadowlands, Giant Stadium, I sat in section 307, John, and I knew everybody in my section, not by their name, but by their faces. Because every year, the same people went year in and year out. And then what happened when they had the PSLs where they ripped that whole everything went crazy because if you sat downstairs, you had to pay this astronomical amount of money for your seat license. They made the upper deck no license, but the sight lines of anybody who has ever gone to MetLife, you're going to sit upstairs, it's a lousy seat. So I was always an upper decker. I actually like to watch games from the upper deck because you could see the play develop as opposed to being close to you can't see anything and you end up looking at the board most of the time. Now it's a
Yeah.
lot more exciting because the action, but you don't see the game. But when you have your upper deck up in heaven, then every seat is bad. So this franchise took their season ticket base two times, John, in the last 50 years and destroyed it. And what happened at MetLife? Ticket brokers bought most of these seats because so many people gave up their season tickets because of the PSLs. People don't know this. And then what does ticket brokers do, John? They sell it to the highest bidder. Well, guess who that is 99% of the time, especially when you stink year after year. It's the opposing team's fans that are
Yeah,
paying, and
yeah.
that's why the Jets don't have a home advantage. That's the history, folks. That's all I got to say about that, John. And it's so, I can't even put it into words what it's like to be a Jet fan. It really is something to behold. And to add that to the other teams we root for, John, I mean, the mountain of losing is crushing old Zuby.
It's I had this discussion with my wife, and she was just looking at me and saying, "Why are you wasting your time? Why are you wasting your time?" I said to her, "Do you see me getting as upset as I used to?" She goes, "No." She goes,
Yes.
"You're finally growing up," she says to me.
So, right, I agree. And I'm in the same boat, acting like an adult. I had to turn 60, I guess, for that to happen. So, that is in the nutshell of this franchise, which this coach who's, he's talking about accountability. He's not cutting Michael Clemens because Jermaine Johnson's hurt, but he honestly thinks that Clemens is one of his better defensive linemen, and that just shows how bad the defense is. To get back to what I said in the offseason, this is a rebuild, folks. Anybody who was saying anything else was just in denial. And for us old fans, right, John? Another rebuild is it's just, you can't deal with it anymore. The franchise is on the brink of extinction. All right, that's enough said.
That's
I don't
enough.
know
By the way,
how else can I put it into
by the
words?
way, I wanted to ask you, and maybe I overlooked this. So now we have Taylor as our quarterback because
Most likely,
yeah,
most likely.
okay. If he gets hurt, who's backing him up now? Is it Brady Cook or he's gone?
He's on the practice squad. So what they'll do is they'll elevate him, and
Okay,
then Justin Wilson, Justin Fields will be inactive. So he just
okay.
won't dress. He's obviously still in the roster. So I doubt he's playing, John. He shouldn't. If he's
No,
coming
no,
off a,
no. No, no, no. Fields is not going to play
he
this
should
week.
not play.
No, no way, no way, no way.
He need and
From
it
what
will
I've been
actually.
reading, yeah, from what I've been reading, I don't think he's playing this week.
And I think it's a good thing. And it's again, I said in the office, I said that both of them were going to play this year, and it's happening in week three. Incredibly, I didn't think it was going to be week three. I figured they would yank Fields eventually because of ineffectiveness. Then he
Right.
goes out and he plays great. I mean, you can't give up on the kid after that game, but obviously we've got 15 more games to talk about, which we will do hopefully if we can somehow survive it, John, on the Bouk and Zoobie show on youtube.com. Hopefully, our video and audio is better this week. And of course, on spotify.com and the world famous LIR.com, 927LIR.com, who somehow allow us to be on their platform talking about the Jets. And it would be great if the Giants would give us a reason to talk about them first. But that game, John, was that one for the ages? As a Giant fan, I mean, it's just, it really is incredible how that played out. And I just want to throw one thing out for us, and I'll let you talk about it because you watched more of the game than I did. But I did watch the whole fourth quarter, so I did watch that part of it. But I was watching in the beginning on both I have the big TV on the Jets and I've got the little iPad to the side with the Giants. And I'm trying to watch like when the Jets are in between plays, watch the Giants, what's going on. And every time in the first quarter I looked over, the Giants had the ball. It was like deep in their territory. It was midfield. They were back. It was 3rd and 20, it seemed, or like it was, and they still had the ball. And I'm like, what is going on? So finally, when they still had the ball, I check online and I'm like, the Dallas has not run a play. So I'm sure you were in the Jet game at this time too, but were you aware, were you watching it, like going back and forth to see what was going on? They
Yeah, I mean, I,
multiple penalties, right? Where they got first downs and then had a penalty and then got a first down and then had a penalty. So what happened?
they had so many penalties in that game. The Giants. What did it end up being? Like 150 yards of penalties? I mean,
I
it
think it
was.
was like 14 penalties, I want to say. It was,
Yeah, but
yeah,
but
but
I'm saying
yardage,
it
I'm
was
not
about
sure. Yeah.
150 yards. It was some absurd amount. And you're right about that. I was going back and forth, and it seemed like the Giants had the ball practically the entire game. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. But one thing I'm going to say about the Giants, and because I totally trashed Russell Wilson last week, he actually played one of his best games I've seen him play. I mean, he showed leadership. He showed that he still has his arm because he threw some two bombs that were magnificent throws. I mean, on the money. So you got to give, other than the overtime, which he didn't play particularly well. No one played particularly well in the overtime, but uh, but during regular time during the game, he played tremendous. I mean, he wasn't missing any passes, and uh, just it's. I feel sorry for the Giant fans because they really got beaten by a 64-yard field goal. And it's funny when you're looking at it, they show the wide angle view and you're seeing where they're lining up and you're saying to yourself, that is freaking far away to kick. And he had a couple of yards more he could have had on that. What a kick. That
John, it goes with the theme that we were talking about. What is changing the game? And we talked about it. The new kicking ball is changing the end of these games where you have to have a different strategy now because he's the top kicker in the league. But there's many guys. Boswell did it the week before. It's from
yeah,
60.
yeah.
The guys can kick 60 to 65. I think the record's going down this year, and it's changing the game. Now, between the dynamic kickoff where you could get it at the 35 with a touchback, or most of the returns are kind of getting close to the 35. With these guys kicking like this, incredibly, you get two first downs. You can win the game
Yeah, yeah.
late in the game. So it's really
Sure.
changing how the coaches have to approach the end of these games. And the Giants were playing too soft in that situation where they just couldn't. They had to play it tighter. So that was just like you saw it coming. It's like this guy, he's gonna make it. He
Well,
is
what
gonna
about
make
what?
that kick.
Well, what about when it was the play before the kick where they actually just made sure that they angled the ball correctly? If you notice that
They
they had the
ran.
running,
They ran the ball.
yeah,
Right?
they ran the ball. It was what, a yard or two, but just to get it in the spot where they thought and I'm like, wow, what it was an amazing kick. And Paul, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, yes, they could kick 60 yards, whatever, 60, 65 yards. But how many of them can be accurate and get it I mean, that is a feat. Literally a feat.
John, they're proving it. They can do it, and it's just so funny because I don't. Do you know the story about? It's Aubrey. Aubrey, right? Brandon Aubrey. I had to double check his name. His history, right? He never played college football. So this guy was a soccer player and took some kicking lessons and then ended up getting a shot in the UFL. I actually remember I literally said, I think when we started doing the show, that I thought the Cowboys were crazy. I don't know why we were talking about the Cowboys at that point, that they signed a guy who never kicked in college as their kicker. Well, that just shows you don't see what you don't know, right? So it's one of
Yeah,
those things. It's like they probably put the guy out there for a tryout and looked at each other and say, "This guy didn't play college football." Well, whatever school he went to, that whoever was the football coach, they screwed up because this guy has got a leg and he's got just a calmness about himself. And it's a confidence thing. And Boswell too, John. He's another. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of guys, and it really is changing the end of the game. That's the point. So as a Giant fan, the roller coaster of emotions, and let's face it. I mean, Dallas's defense, they're playing like three guys deep, and the Giants are sending guys in the seam, and the guys playing the deep zone are not moving towards the receiver
yeah,
and just
yeah.
staying like in their zone. They just split them, and Malik Neighbors just goes right by them. I mean, so we have to like point that out too. Now, great throw, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's not easy to do. And obviously, Neighbors did his job. And then Robinson, he was amazing. He had
Yeah,
how many big plays?
yeah.
So this is talk about moral victories. Giant fans don't want to hear about that either. They like, are you crazy? I was like, that's not a Dallas is not a top team, and that would have been a big win. So both teams should be 1-1. They're both 0-2, and they've got kind of like make your save your season games, John, coming up this weekend. Jets, Tampa Bay,
Yeah.
and Kansas City coming to MetLife. So they're not going to be, this is not an easy chore.
No.
In the tri state area, get a break, John? I mean, this is just getting to be, I mean, it really is just a colossal disaster area. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, and
There's nothing
the,
you can say.
right, because the Giants and the Giant fans, there's hope, but is there hope? Because it's not like Jackson Dart did what Wilson did. So now they're back into the same situation where, okay, Wilson proved himself out, obviously, so Dart's not going to play anytime soon. And they did something weird, right, by putting
Yeah,
him
yeah.
in there, and they ran
Yeah,
the ball.
handing
Now
off
they
the ball. Yeah,
Right. Now, one time it worked. Scatterboo, my man Scatterboo,
yeah,
had a good run on it. And then the other time he fell down, right? And he lost yardage. So it was a
yeah,
bad thing.
yeah.
And Wilson was kind of like coming over the side. He was not happy. That's like a gimmick. I mean, why bother? Just this let Dart sit and watch. Don't give him that's not a role, bringing him in as a decoy, and then he hands it off every
Well, how's
time.
it
I
a
mean, what is
decoy
that
when you
doing?
right? How's it a decoy when you're doing it three different times?
And he did the same thing.
Yeah.
No, and actually, it just popped into my head because I just have to talk about decoys and things we talked about. I have to get back to the Jet game. The one play that just absolutely drove me crazy. They finally did something well in the first half. They get like it's 1st and 10 in territory of that Buffalo. 1st and 10. Arian Smith comes on the field.
Oh, there's your man. That's right.
And there, what happens though? When Arian Smith comes on the field, the defense is alerted. Deep throw, reverse. What happens? They reverse, loss of 10. So that's an out coaching thing. So I know we didn't get much into the Jet game itself because there wasn't much to talk about, but I did that play pop back into my head about bad job, right, by the coaches. So I don't know where Dayball. John, we've talked about this so many times. It's a results business, John. The Giants go, I don't know, 5-12, 6-11, 7-10. This is, and that's now if they go 0-3, that's a big chore to go even 7-10.
Sure.
So I mean, it just how can he survive this? I just don't see it. It just there's something I don't know what it is. It's just
I
what
think
do you think? He still survives
I still think he survives.
no matter what. All right.
Yeah, I think that they're going to give him this year to start, you know, working with Dart, and next year, if next year they do poorly, then he's out.
Okay. All right. Well, I think probably Giant. I would love to. Yeah, we again this again throw in the comment section about the Giants or the Jets or anything. Please in the YouTube.com website, you can throw comments. Tell us what we're doing good, what we're doing wrong. Give us a little pep talk. We may need it after trying to like really provide like a realistic view of what we're seeing. So we can't speak emotionally as Giant fans, but if I was a Giant, I'd be sick after that game. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That just. I mean, I know I got my Super Bowls in my pocket, I guess, but if I'm a young fan, they don't have them. So seeing that just like and to lose to your rival, it's just what a
and
bitter
and
defeat.
and away. I mean, that would have been a big statement to win away in that stadium.
And the way they came back,
That's
and
correct.
to give up give up that field goal at the end. All right, John. So I don't know if there's
By the
anything else
way,
on your mind here. Yeah. Yes.
I
Go
have
ahead.
a question. So, are do we still have, like we did last year, the chance to change one of our picks for Because you know which one I'm going to ask for a do-over on.
It's funny. I don't even remember. You're gonna have to tell me because I didn't even remember the picks, your picks. But
Oh,
what?
well, one of them happened to be the Bengals.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
And
around the league. So you want to go around the league? Yeah, we'll start right there. Joe Burrow basically out for the
he's
season.
out for three. Yeah, I mean, he's getting surgery for turf toe. He's going to be out at least 3 months, which is basically the season. I mean,
Yeah, I mean he's technically eligible to come back, but will they be in it when he comes back?
right.
Yeah, so I think I had them in too. I thought, yeah, I definitely there's after 2 weeks, I definitely made some mistakes on my picks. Leaving the Chargers out is going to bite me in the butt. I have a feeling.
I had the Chargers.
Harbaugh's a great coach, John, and it just shows how important coaching is.
And Herbert
Um,
played a great game.
yeah, he did. He did. So, I mean, again,
That was one of my picks with the Chargers.
yes, so that you got that on me. So that there obviously look really good. The Packers look really good.
Yeah.
This is again 2 weeks, so we can't get too
The
crazy.
Rams keep winning.
The Rams, right? The 49ers somehow are 2-0. That's my
Yeah.
Super Bowl pick. And yeah, with Brock Purdy out, I think they claim he may play this week. Yeah, and then all the ex-Jet quarterbacks. Sam Darnold had a good game. Geno Smith did not have a good game. The Raiders lost late night last night.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody in the tri-state area. Well, I shouldn't say anybody. Not many people are staying up for that double dip. And the other, of course, Jet coach Todd Bowles with the Bucks basically winning their first two games on the last possession of the game,
Yeah.
literally in the last play of the game, where Baker Mayfield is making the Browns fans cry. Because when you draft these guys, and it's that draft, John, that draft with all those quarterbacks is going down as it's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time because Mayfield and Darnold are off the mat to join Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Now, Josh Rosen was the bomb in that draft, but that is going to come down as one of the best draft, rivaling the old one back in the '80s with Marino and Kelly and the rest.
Yeah.
So it was '84, I guess, right? So you got to when you draft a quarterback in the top five. I mean, first of all, you can't miss your pick. Like, Zach Wilson was picked in the top five.
Yeah. That was
But
a
you
mistake.
could just look at Zach Wilson. If you ever saw him, you'd be like, nah. Darnold's fit the build, and the Jets just gave up on him way too quick to draft Zach Wilson. So
Yeah.
anyway, those are the kind of things that's like popped into my head around the league. And obviously, I guess the other big thing is the Eagles Chiefs game, which was a good game. And this is not like your friends Chiefs team. This team is the weakest team they've had
Yes, it
in a
is.
while. And the other thing in that game, John, I'm sorry, I don't have an issue with the tush push, but you can't let them get a full start. And I thought it happened twice. So I don't know. Did you watch the Eagles Chiefs
No.
game?
No.
So the Eagles were tush pushing left and right, and earlier in the game, I was watching one of them. I'm like, man, it surely looked like one of the linemen kind of jumped a little early because they all get into that position now where they're trying to get underneath each other, right? The defensive and the
Hmm.
offensive lines. And then they did it later in the game, and he obviously left early, and they didn't call it. And both times it was first downs or touchdowns. So, I mean, everyone's talking about ban the play, ban the play. I don't know about banning the play, but you got to make the call. And why is that not a reviewable play? If if you're leaving early and the refs don't call it, why is that okay? I just it really just boggles my mind. I mean, I don't want to start from week two with the officiating, but it doesn't make any sense where certain plays are reviewable and certain ones aren't. It makes no sense. And it never will to me, John. Never will.
Well, there was another quarterback injury.
Does
McCarthy
it?
in the Vikings is
Right.
going to
Yeah.
be out. And it's funny. Who's replacing him? Carson Wentz, which I don't know if you knew this. I kind of knew it in a way that this is going to be. He has now the record for being a quarterback for six different teams in six consecutive years. First time in history. Carson Wentz.
The modern NFL. So yeah, that's
Amazing.
I didn't realize it was that many. So that obviously when he
I
left
didn't know
the
either.
Eagles and
I figured three or four.
yeah, you
Six.
forget where he went, right? Because we had talked. He went with the Rams. He was with, right? We talked. You talked. You wanted him the Jets to sign him,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
So when the was it when Rodgers went down? So we never saw it. So now you're gonna see Carson Wentz. You're right. McCarthy's out. Justin Fields is going to be out. Joe Burrow is out. Hey, it's a war of attrition in the NFL, John. It's depth is important. Can these backups? Can these guys step up? So we'll see. So as always, the NFL is off to a good start. There's been, maybe not as many classic games so far. There's been a few. Obviously, the Giants Cowboys was the game of this week, and obviously the Ravens Bills the first week. We're just like inundated on the local scene where we talk about that on our show, and we don't go and we talk a little bit around the league, but it's pretty hard to cover the NFL when you do it for fun. We do this
Yeah.
show for fun, folks, just so everybody
For fun.
knows this is not any particular reason. We're not looking to be famous. We know we will never be famous, but we hope, John, that some of our takes will be remembered by our fans. We've had some good ones.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I got to say about the NFL. So
Well,
what are we going to do?
there. Well, you're gonna have some additional things to say because we have Zuby the Greek's pick of the week. But before we get to that, Zuby's pick last week was the Cardinals and giving 6.5 to the Panthers.
Yes.
Now, for anyone who uh, actually listened that time and actually heard Mr. Zubalake's pick, we all thought he had it in the bag. 27-3. And I said to we may have said it the same exact time because I'm saying he has it. Okay. He has his first pick correct, finally. Then what happens? One after the you know what was really weird is that the Panthers were missing extra points.
No,
They
they were
were
going
getting
for two. They were going for two.
no, no, I know, but I thought that um, they didn't miss an extra point in there,
I don't believe so because they were so far behind that they went with because they were down by 24, which is
right?
three downs with three 2-point conversions to tie the game. They're not worried about the
Right,
spread.
right, right.
Yeah, right. That's what they're thinking. So they kept on going for three. But John, I mean, 2-point conversions are missing. But the amazing thing about this, and I always think this is the best way when you make a bet, is definitely don't watch the game. Because if I'm watching that game and I have big money on that game, I'm following Zuby after his first week heartbreak when the Bears blew it to the Vikings. And then, of course, J.J. McCarthy plays like Joe Namath for one quarter. And then, of course, the next week gets hurt. They get crushed. And now he's out for 2 to 4 weeks. So, for all the fans out there who are now going to be following this show to either bet with me, doubt it, or more likely against me, you are going to sweat it out because we're not making that up, folks. That was my pick. 27-3 with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Final score 27-22 Cardinals. And John, the Panthers not only made that comeback, they recovered the onside
Onside
kick
kick. Yeah.
and technically had a chance to win the game, which I wish they did because my bet was lost. So, how do I bounce back, John, from this disaster? 2 weeks in a row, if you went to bed 1 quarter early before the game ended, 1 quarter, you would have thought guaranteed on both bets, and both lost. So, for those people who are going to go against me, this is
By
a
the way,
tough week, John. Wait,
by
what?
the way,
Yes, sir.
I want to throw in that Lieutenant Dan actually even was texting us during that game, if you remember.
Did he? I don't even remember.
Yeah,
I thought it was about the Giants. Did he throw in the pick of the week? I hope he didn't. I hope he
yeah,
wasn't.
yeah.
He
Because
did say something.
he was actually praising you because he said he was 27-3.
So everybody watching.
And then he remarked later on how does Vegas get these point spreads? He thought it was amazing.
Yeah, no, it is definitely something to behold. That is the backdoor cover disaster. And actually, on that last drive where they made it 22 points, they did convert on a fourth. I don't even know how long it was. It wasn't fourth and short. It was a fourth down on their side of the field, and they converted the fourth. So everything could have happened. All right, so we're gonna somehow put those two losses, and I'd be smart by quitting right now, but I'm gonna give you something because I'm telling you, John, I looked at the games. I was like, I don't like these games. Nothing has popped out at me. So what am I doing? I thought a little bit about the Jets because, folks, they are 7-point underdogs on the road. Anybody looking at that spread, John, is that the most tempting thing ever to bet the Bucks? I mean, I would have to think if you ask fans across the country, 90% are taking Tampa. And I bet you some of these knockout pools, people are going to take Tampa. So I was thinking to myself, this is so typical of the Jets that they would play well in this game. Now, the problem with the Jets is, John, when this situation comes up where you think they're going to lose, they will win a game like this, win it outright, but rarely will they play it close. They'll either get blown out or they're going to win outright. So I was like, the 7 was not enough points. I'm like, I cannot take the Jets +7 because I just can't do it. If it was 8, 9, 10, 10, I would definitely take it. So I'm not taking the Jets. But what am I going to do, folks? I'm taking the Giants. +6.5.
Wow.
Got to give a little odds again. At home against the Chiefs. So I like home underdogs. The Giants are not a terrible team. They have talent. Can they put it together? Kansas City, John, it's another game that people are just going to be like, how? It's no way that Kansas City is going to go 0-3. I'm not picking the Giants outright. I'm not doing it, folks. But I'm taking the points. I'm taking the Fighting Daybulls to get me off the schneid. Sorry, Lieutenant Dan.
Well, I think that's a very, very bold pick. Six
All
and a
right.
half. Wow.
So all those folks who were going against me, who were getting rich going against me, but sweating to death. I mean, they must have like if they'd going against me last week, I don't even know what. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe they were strong in prayer. So go against me again, folks. Why not? It's winning. So I think now the Zuby pick of the week, John, is going to be getting like many viewers coming in because if I continue to lose like this, I mean, in the game, the way I'm losing is just too funny to watch. So anyway, that's enough of the NFL. We're gonna forget the winter sports because we don't want to. We just have to get to the Book meter and where it stands with MLB and baseball with Book. What do you got, John?
So I'm sure that anyone who's listened to me and listened to us, Mr. Zubulake has always been more of an optimist with the Mets' chances in the playoffs. And last week I said it was a 7. And I made the remark What if the Mets lose 7 in a row? Turns out they lose 8 in a row. And their lead got as close as half a game, the team, Giants, half a game behind them. And Pete Alonso comes out of nowhere. It's a game-winning home run against the Rangers. They should have won the game before when I was there. Um, why it's pretty funny why Mendoza said why he took him out, because I was at the game and I said to my cousin, Sprout has lost about 4 or 5 miles per hour off of his fastball. I even saw it.
Oh, you did.
But
Okay.
I saw it because it was 98, 98. All of a sudden it's 93, 94. And I'm saying to myself, okay, either he's getting tired or something's wrong with his arm. But still, 6 shutout innings with 70 pitches. Why are you taking him out? Why? Let at least give him the opportunity to start the seventh. And if
Of course. Yeah.
it was ridiculous. It was up, and I have to say, Mendoza has really had a bad year managing. Now, you may say that people from upstairs are telling him with their analytics, you need to take this person out, you need to put this person in. I don't know how much of it is he doing it on his own, or is he conferring with the genius David Stearns, who people are finding out very, very quickly he's no genius. He's made some lousy, lousy moves. And so the Mets are starting a series with San Diego, 3 games. Then they have the Nationals for 3. Then they have the Cubs for 3. And then they have, it's ironic because the Marlins are usually the team that knocked the Mets out of the playoffs. If you remember those years in 2007 and 2008. It was back-to-back years, and who knocked them out were the Marlins. So it's setting up like that. So the book meter has gone up to 8 now. With
8 meaning 8 out of 10 panic mode.
correct,
So, and that's for the playoffs. And of course, the World Series remains
still 10.
still 10.
And and
John,
and really, the fact of the matter is that if you have to depend on 3 rookies to get you to the playoffs, and by the way, McLean, they let him go up to how many pitches? Over 90 pitches yesterday. He adjusts. He has great stuff. Sprout has so many different pitches, 4 or 5 different. They're both excellent. Tong needs to go to the minor leagues. I don't know why they're giving him another shot because he's not ready. He really
mhm,
isn't. I mean, he has a nice fastball. He has a nice um, changeup. Not enough weapons yet. So
right.
they're giving him another shot. But the fact that they put Manaea in the bullpen, so now they're going to have Holmes start and hope that he gets 5 innings, and they're going to bring Manaea in.
All right.
That's their strategy.
Okay.
And what are you doing with Senga? Senga pitched very well in AAA. I say you got to bring him up now. Let him
Bring
start
him up.
again. Let him. You
100%.
you have Peterson. So I mean, we have some decent starters. I'm not really that opposed to having Manaea come in and pitch the final 4 innings of a game if that's what it's going to take to win now. But the hitting just has to wake up. I mean, how many? It's like a broken record all year. The first inning had the bases loaded, 1 out. They can't get a run in. First and third, 1 out. Can't get the run. I mean, there's no fundamentals with this team. And I've been saying all year, they have these third basemen of every team that they play. It's playing so far back, and no one bothers to lay down a bunt for a hit. And so the game I was at, Lindor finally did it. Laid down a bunt down, and my cousin turned to me. He goes, "They finally listened to you." I said, "I've been saying this all year. It, just get on base. Why does everyone have to keep swinging away? Nimmo, whatever happened to him bunting? There's been so many instances where again, for analytics, they're against the bunt. If you know
Yep.
that, that's
Yes,
that's
of course. Yeah.
they they hate giving away an out. But guess what? The Rangers, to me, Bochy, fundamentally sound team across the board. They did not make mistakes. That team, none, very very little,
Right.
except for
Well,
the last game in I think it was the ninth inning. It was a base running mistake. But
right. Well, just to point out on the bunting too, right? When you're saying like the sacrifice, giving up an out is a different animal than bunting for a hit because they're
no, no,
playing
right.
in a off. You know, they're giving you
They're
first
giving it
pitch.
to you.
So there's certain situations, nobody on, right? That's when you're going to do it automatic, right? If that's it almost should be
Yeah,
automatic.
right.
If
To
they're
start a rally, right? To
get
start a
on
rally, get
base,
on
it doesn't
base,
matter. It doesn't
right?
matter.
Or
John, I'm
how
going to give
about
you.
I'll give you one.
Yeah,
I'll give you
yeah,
one
go.
even better. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So one thing that I've seen all year long, and it's more apparent when you're in the stadium, is when they give the entire right side. To, they basically have the second baseman literally almost behind the bag, and they're giving you the whole right. And these guys can't poke it through there. It's amazing. Even guys that go to right field like Vientos and Alonso, why aren't they going? It just shows that we really don't have good situational hitters at all. It's
Well,
frustrating, and not to win a game after the eighth inning when you're behind. Oh, it's up to 0-63 now.
no, it's a bad sign. It's a bad sign. So I'm going to give you some quick good news because we are talking on Tuesday during the game, and you did not tape the game, right, John? I don't want
No,
to like. You're
no.
better off not watching. So the good news is it's 8-2, and Lindor, Alonso, and Brett Beatty have all homered,
Okay,
and
good.
Clay Holmes has completed 4 innings and has given up 2 runs and is still in
Okay,
the game. But the fact is that why you would not, they're so stubborn with this Clay Holmes stuff. It is just, to me, it's mind boggling that Mania is the guy who should be starting and Holmes should be the one who's
correct.
coming in
That's
second
correct.
because Holmes is pitching better. So you want your better pitcher pitching second. But they just, John, they will not have Holmes pitch in relief. Are they going to literally line up if they get in the best of three against, I guess, the Dodgers, like you mentioned
Going to
last
be the
week?
Dodgers. Yeah.
Are they going to literally have Holmes on the roster? They should, because he should be in the bullpen. Because you're going to
Yeah.
go to Holmes over Helsley any day of the week, or any of these right-handers. The only, I guess, Raleigh and Soto, they're semi-reliable, but the rest of them,
Yeah.
forget
I
it.
mean,
So,
yeah. I mean, and if you look at it's a shame because when you look at their injury list, when they could have had Nunez in there and Minter. I mean, they have some really good, really good relievers, but they're all hurt. And the fact of the matter is, um, Mendoza's he's just not been a good manager this year. He does a lot of panic moves. You start seeing the famous one is taking Vientos out of a game and putting Acuna in as a defensive replacement, and then you have Acuna. Somehow they get a rally going, and then when they have Acuna coming up instead of Vientos, come on, these are really. And just take a. I want you to listen to the managers that we have to face, and I just took them off the top of my head. I'm sure there's others that I could put on this list. Listen to the quality of these managers. You have Cash, Tampa Bay, Cora, Bochy, Francona, Roberts, Council, Hinch, Snitker, Shield with the Padres, Melvin. I mean, these are the guys that have been out managing Mendoza every single game I've watched them play against him. Just totally outclassed him. And just to give you an idea of why I'm worried about the whole playoffs, I said watch out for Arizona because Arizona is now 1.5 games out. They're playing the Giants. Giants are 2 out. The Reds are 2 out. I'm not really that concerned. Listen, I'm not really that concerned about the Reds. It's really, to me, it's down to San Francisco and Arizona. And Arizona has by far the hardest schedule from here on in. So there's 2 more games with San Francisco. Then you have uh, San Francisco plays LA for 4 games next week. Arizona plays the Phillies for 3 games, but the Phillies have it already wrapped up. They really have nothing to play for, the Phillies, right now. Then the following week, Arizona has to play LA for 3. San Francisco gets a little bit of a break playing St. Louis for 3. And then the final week, it's Arizona against San Diego for 3. I'm telling you, they have by far the hardest schedule. And then San Francisco has Colorado for 3.
Oh boy.
So we have to hope that somehow the Mets can put some distance between themselves and these guys before they have these killer schedules. Meaning that if they could get 1 or 2 wins from San Diego, which so far it sounds pretty good tonight, and then just sweep the the Nationals. I mean,
Yeah, they have to, right?
they have to, because then you have the Cubs who, listen, they're going to end up playing the Padres, whoever finishes second. It's not that they're going to lay back a little bit. And then you have the Marlins, and the Marlins have been playing really well. So this is tough. This is very, very tough. And unfortunately, for Met fans, we need a miracle to get even past the wild card round. A
That's the
miracle.
biggest problem. That's the biggest problem because we're talking about a bunch of mediocre teams getting into the last playoff spot, which
Yeah,
obviously a decade ago never existed, and expecting them to make a run in the playoffs where they go on the road for that 3 game series where they have to win 2 out of 3 on the road in either LA or San Diego, I guess,
yeah,
depending on how it plays out. That's what you're still thinking.
yeah.
So this is probably a situation where in the end it's not going to matter, but that John, they just have to get in. They just have to. They cannot not make the playoffs this year because that's just going to be
Oof,
because this is not a young team and they have some contracts issues that they're going to have to deal with. And so they just have to get in. Now, if they go get in and they lose 2 straight, then it doesn't matter. It's still a
right.
disaster. So, but they just at least have to be in that opening round. So hopefully, because the competition isn't great and they're playing each other, they're playing tough teams, like you just laid out. But you're still at an 8, so you're still worried that just the Mets can't get it together.
They got
So
to get it together.
hopefully tonight is a start of another little streak for them, and that would be it. So what do you got? I'm sorry. Good talk.
Well, there's one other thing. So today was the day that you had to pay for your playoff tickets for the
Okay.
Mets. Okay, so you have to pay 40% of, in my case, 40% of $4,600. And I asked them, okay, how are you know, how are you determining this amount? I had to ask my representative, how are you determining this? Well, it's a maximum of 14 games. I said, it can't be a maximum of 14 games. I said, why are you asking this amount? It should be less by 3 games. And she goes, well, what do you mean? I said, they're going to be playing on the road. There's not going to be any home games for the wild card. We're not going to have any home games. So there, it's just very slick of the Mets and MLB that they get to hold on to your money. And by the way, they could take the rest if the Mets make the National League Championship Series, which
Right.
will probably not happen. But in order to get your initial 40% back, wow, banking is amazing.
Well, but
You,
are
you,
they counting it the World Series games? Is that how they
yes,
get to
yes,
14? That's how they get to 14,
yes,
whatever the number is.
yes. Yeah, but you can't count the wild card games for the Mets
No, no, I'm
because
saying, but what is the actual count of? So, okay, let's just go through it quick. Nothing in the first round. Then
right
they advance
to
to the
the
next round.
division, right, the division round,
What's that? Best of what?
7,
Okay, obviously max is three.
3. Then
Then
you
they
have the
go to
championship series,
three,
3,
6,
right,
World Series,
3,
three,
9.
9. Steve Cohen is a mathematical wizard.
Well, this is the kicker here. You ready for this? So you're putting in 40% today. You For you to get that refund, you got to wait until the World Series is over, and then it takes another 3 to 4 weeks of processing. So by the time you get it back, it's going to be December. How long are
Well,
they? How many millions of dollars are they holding for several months in their accounts or whatever they're doing with it?
Well, and they're
It's
right. Well, they're earning the float for that amount of time. The Fed will be reducing that float tomorrow. That's another story. But so their mindset is, John, that how they get to 14 is that they think somehow that they could finish higher than a team that they would be playing in the advanced round. So
right,
instead of only getting the 3 games, they would be getting the 4. But
right.
if they're the 6th team in, obviously there's nobody below them. So they're telling you because they only can get to 5, right? They can't get to 4, right? Isn't that the division winners? Isn't that how that works? Or am I
Yeah, they
missing it?
no no. Listen,
They only could be 5th or 6th.
correct.
So there's only one team for the one round in theory if they finish 5th that they could get the extra game. So it still only could be 10. All right, so the Met I mean it's amazing how they can do that. It's quite amazing by telling you there's going to be 14 games. They're just making stuff
Oh,
up.
well,
So when you even
that's what I was questioning because I said to her, the only way you can get to 14 is that you're the home team in the division series, in the championship series. That would be 4 and 4, 8, 11. The wild card if you're the home team, that's 11. And then in the World Series, I think it's whoever has the
oh,
best record. So it could have been conceivably as much as 15, but that's the way I figured out 14. It was ridiculous. It's such a scam.
all right.
Anyway, well, by
So
the way, I wanted to give a very quick
yes.
update. So
Yes, sir.
I, you know, believe it or not, I had 2 texts from people who listened to the show last week, and I had mentioned about the whole Davy Johnson story with his daughter, and one of them asked me, "Did you try to go and ask her out on a date?" And, and I actually did approach her. I want to answer this, and of course, I was told her boyfriend happened to be there, and she introduced me to her boyfriend. I said, "Oh, well, that's so much for that." So that was the answer to one of those texts. That yes, I did actually try to ask her out.
Oh wow,
Uh,
John.
yeah, I did.
There you
But
go.
then I was introduced to her boyfriend, and I'm like, okay,
There you go. All right. Well, that's probably a great way to end the show. Is with the Mets situation. We're not really Yankee fans. I mean, I'll definitely let you throw in, but I do want to put one thing out there, and I'll give you a chance to talk baseball. But I do not want to forget because we do talk and usually it's your part of the show where you bring in people from the past who have passed away, ex athletes. And one of the all time great Rangers, Eddie
ah,
Jockman, passed
yeah,
away at
yeah,
86, I believe.
86.
And this goes way back into my youth when it was one of the saddest moments when they traded Eddie and he came back in a Red Wing uniform and the famous chanting of his name during the national anthem where he broke down and cried on the ice. So I definitely had to bring up old Eddie Jockman. Rest in peace, Ed.
Yeah, yeah, and
Anyway, I'm sorry. That's I guess you should end the show on the RIP, but I'm gonna throw it back to you if you got anything else to say.
uh, just very quickly because I promised that I was going to mention it on this show
Yes.
is the Mets' history of bad trades at the deadline. So
Okay.
I'm gonna
Hmm.
give you some quick ones. So obviously the one that we all knew about was the Seaver trade where we ended up getting Henderson, Flynn, Zachary, and the famous Dan Norman that they couldn't stop talking about his prowess as a switch hitter, which didn't mean anything. They had the Dave Kingman trade where they ended up getting Paul Siebert and Bobby Valentine. It was obviously a salary dump. Um, the Jeff Kent trade, where they traded Jeff Kent and Jose Vizcaino for Carlos Baerga and Alvaro Espinoza. Uh, Another really good one, Scott Kazmir traded. For those of you who don't know, Scott Kazmir he was supposed to be our lefty star potential. They
Correct.
traded
Yeah.
him for the famous Carlos Zambrano, who lasted 1 year with the Mets. You had Lenny Dykstra trade, where they sent Lenny Dykstra and Roger McDowell for Juan Samuel. Um, we had, uh, I'll give you one more. I mean, it's Melvin Mora, who was a pretty good hitter for the Mets. Uh, Once they had an injury, they decided, okay, you know what, we need a shortstop. And they traded Melvin Mora for Mike Bordick, who turned out to be a big nothing for them. So
Well,
that's
there's
just a
many more.
taste. There's many, many more, but those were the ones I selected. I mean, besides the one I always go crazy over, J.D. Davis and three prospects for Darren Ruff. But we can replace this year. Uh, this year's Giants trade will be similar to that one, maybe much, much worse.
Well, they
So,
also traded David Cohn, right? They traded Nolan Ryan, so the list would go on forever with the
well,
Mets.
I'm talking about deadline trades.
Deadline trades. Oh, okay, as opposed
I mean,
to.
if you really want to go into really bad
Oh,
trades, how
okay,
about
okay.
Rusty Staub for Mickey Lolich,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
right?
There are many. There's a reason, folks, why the Mets haven't won since 1968, 68, 86, and all our teams can't win. And then we're just going to leave you with that. So who do you got to
So,
thank, John?
as always, thank you to our producer Zach Zubulake and to our loyal listeners and viewers. We promise you will have a good reception on our handsome faces and our audio this week.
We hope.
We hope. Also, thanks to our community partners, Ronald McDonald House, Kids in Seats, and the Jackie Robinson Foundation. We'll see you next week.